hard-earned superpowers is the ability to be honest and vulnerable with myself so that I can be honest and vulnerable with others. And I think that's what we all need right now. We all need to be honest about what isn't working, not just during COVID, because COVID is relentless and difficult, especially for working parents, but for us as a species. If we're going to make it during this time, if we're going to make it through the gauntlet of challenges posed by this moment in history, we have got to start being honest with ourselves and each other about what isn't working so we can work together to build a world that does work for all of us.
It takes a lot of courage to share your raw stories here and in the book. And the people who go first are the ones who can lead the rest of us to make it good and okay to talk about these things.
The first thing that happened is every single working mom I admired, and I ended up doing 220 interviews with both moms and dads, but every single parent I called was admitted that they felt like they were regularly failing either at home or with their kids or both. And we would share with each other these very raw stories of when we had failed. You know, there was awareness that maybe in part because it was so hard, that we were forging ourselves in ways that nothing else could make us forge ourselves, that we were evolving and growing in ways that we didn't even know we needed to grow and evolve. And I realized that it wasn't something that only women could experience, but that dads could too. And that and the dads who'd been through it had the realization that other dads were missing out because they hadn't.
Right.
And that is really what gives me hope for the future, is the sense that the men who've gone into that journey come out of it wanting others to have it too.
In alignment with the truth, we can recognize that showing up for parenthood gives us the opportunity to evolve into more potent versions of our former selves. And we can take advantage of this opportunity by doing the deep work necessary to change, not just ourselves, but the world around us too.
And, I think a lot of parents at this point really need that tool, resources, and support. And I think this book kind of packs everything, inspiration, and all that into it. And I think this is a great way, especially for me. I feel like this is just an amazing way for us to start 2021. So thank you so much, Amy, for this gift.
Book. And the thing I love about Amy that she really got across in this book, that we all know, if you know her, is she has this just very, very honest blend of accomplishment, passion, fierceness, vulnerability, pain, love, honesty. I mean, to me, she just leads with things that we try to cover up as moms. Because
struck me how it feels for so many women and for so many mothers. We go from being the rising stars in our careers and the rising stars at school and the rising stars in our community to really feeling like outsiders and feeling incredibly isolated and being pushed out of this, kind of sense of community. And because people do not feel like they can be excellent as mothers, as workers, as caregivers to their aging parents, as caregivers to themselves, we need to kind of create the performance evaluation of the future. And I believe what Amy has done and what she writes so beautifully and eloquently about is taking those superpowers that we gain as parents, taking those competencies that are incredibly difficult to achieve in life without going through something incredibly traumatic, and reframing it in such a way that corporate America, that employers, that the other power structures that really govern how we are treated and how we're supported understand it and value it. So
2 months later, we were all locked in, and the invisible was literally visible on Zoom. And I think what that made me realize, when you look at the women's 2.2 million leaving, being forced out of the workforce, and the fact that nothing changed in terms of the division of labor in our homes, I think I realized that my wish was too small. And that's where I think Amy comes in, right? The way you are manifesting action is through making not only connections, but showing how those connections really matter, not just as a nice to have, but as a must have as we enter Earth 2.0.
Been complicit in our own oppression. And whatever we thought was working for us pre-2020 wasn't. And it wasn't working. We cannot forget the shit we just went through in the last 12 months. Once all our kids are back in school and things start getting better for white women, we need to remember that this broke down fully for everyone.
As parents, we are assets, not liabilities to the workplace. Tending is a movement that recognizes the value of parents at work with the goal of changing the game for working parents. It's time for our nation to support working parents. It is harder to be a working parent in the US than in any other developed country. Our mission is to change this, to create a better future for working parents through research, education, community, and collective action. I invite you to join our movement by signing up to get involved. Let's change the game for working parents. Our future depends on it.